Well, aloha. We're going to play with a few things today. So first of all, we're going to launch an instance using user data so that as it is created for the first time, it actually does something. The other thing we're going to do is give it a security group. Actually, one of the things we're going to do with doing something is we're going to set up a web server and get a web page down to it. Then we're going to make sure the security group allows web access, and we'll then launch a web page. We'll hit that web page. We're going to actually use tcp dump as well so that we can view us hitting that web page. Then we'll pull that tcp dump file down and we'll look at it in Wireshark. Okay, so a lot to do. So we'll just select the default. I have made this a little bigger so it's easier to see. I'm going to click, usually I just click this review and launch, but I'm going to click next this time. And see this configure instance? We're going to scroll all the way down and here's this user data. This is a place where you can basically put a script and it'll run when it is as the server's being created. So here we have a script that I've done. So bin bash starts telling it how to run it. Install httpd. System control start it. So you've installed it, now you start it up. Then you enable it so that when you reboot, it'll restart automatically. We're going to give Apache group to EC2 user and do a few things there. And then we're going to wget this file, which is just a sample bootstrap page. And I'm going to put it in var www.html, and I'm going to call it index.html. So that's the main thing you should hit. Okay, cool. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to configure the security group because by default, it only has SSH. So I could add the rule here, but I'm going to select an existing one, and I'm going to grab this one that's SSH and HTTP. Okay, review and launch, and then launch, and it's going to say, hey, do you have the key? Yes, I do. I'm going to launch that. Okay, so it's launching. These take a little bit of time, and now that I'm running a script, it's going to take even more time, but that's okay. We're going to copy this. We'll show you that the web page isn't working right now, and let's get logging in. We're going to SSH to it. Oh, it looks like things changed in the back, so that might be, copied a little too much. Oh, dang it. I think that's it. So yeah, it's the first time I'm seeing this because this is a new system. Cool, so I'm in. And if we look here, it's saying it can't be reached. And if I hit enter, there's my page. Sweet. So we have a page. We have, we're on the server itself because we've used SSH. So with the key that I used to install it, EC2 users, the default, and the IP address. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and let's dump the traffic. So we're going to use tcp dump, which we're going to do sudo to do that. So we can switch user and do it as root. We're going to dump it on any interface. I believe this the entire thing and dump it to this file. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to copy this, and just so I'm good, I'm going to open it up in an incognito tab. There, we've opened it. So I'll close this, come back here, and I'm just going to go ahead and Control C it. So I got 23 packets. So there's not a lot. It was a very short period of time. Now, usually with TCP dump, especially on a busy system, that could quickly be gigabytes of data. on a busy system. So be very careful when you use TCP dump, especially on a production system. But this time, it was just 4.6K, so it's pretty small. So exit. Now I need to get that down to my local system. And by the way, I'm doing this in temp, so in a temp folder I created where there's nothing. So if I go, actually, if I just hit up arrow, come back to the SSH command, we're just going to change this to SCP. Oop. SCP, and so that means I still use the -i to get to the right file. I want to grab something from the server, so this is what goes first, the username at the IP address. But I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab everything in the home directory of EC2 user, and I'm going to put it dot, which is here. Okay. There we go. So we've done SCP. We got our file down. I can do an ls and see it. There's my dump. By the way, Windows, the command's similar. SCP, Mac, same SCP. Only in newer versions of Windows is it the same. Now, of course, the folder directory structure is different in Windows. And even in Mac, well, I think that's the same home in Mac. But Windows has the different direction of slashes. And different locations. Okay, so it's there. So now let's launch Wireshark. And we're going to file, open recent, open, mydump right here. Cool. So here we have it. We have SSH streams, we have TCP, and we have here this, an HTTP stream. If we look here, we can actually see information. And you can actually, right here, I can see there's some HTML. But this is hard to read. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say follow HTTP stream. And that will open up this nice little window. And if we look here, here's header information. And then right here we have, there's the HTML right there. And then there's even some stuff at the end if we waited long enough. But I just want to show you view page source. So I want to show you that that is the HTML of the page. See, right here, HTML. So you don't need to be afraid of Wireshark, but it does take time to learn. And it gets the little package, but you can follow those and stick them together. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. Today we used AWS userdata, security groups. We actually used a bootstrap page from W3 Schools. We used TCP dump, and we used Wireshark. That's pretty good. Have a good day.